I saw a couple thumbs up. Are we ready to get started? Okay, awesome. I will let Councilor Worrell go first because she was ready on the trigger, ready to go.
Awesome. And I see some of my ideas, some of the same ideas that I was gonna say. One is an event space. Do we all know about the lawn on D that's in South Boston? Like, let's bring that to Dorchester, right? Let's have an event space like that in Dorchester. It's not only, event space, but it's jobs. I was walking around there, security jobs, it's vendor jobs, and it could be contracts to small businesses. So I would love to have that space there. Also, more resources for home ownership opportunities, more assistance for those individuals that are make too much for housing assistance, but not enough to buy in the open market. Let's make sure that we're getting them assistance to have the ability to purchase homes and not deed restricted homes, homes that actually you can realize the equity in and also sell at current market value. And then also better education in our schools. I want to make sure that our students and our young people, our future, are on the track that when they graduate, Boston Public Schools, that they are either one prepared to go to a college or prepared to have a career. I want to make sure that we are setting up our children for success, and that Boston Public School high school education is worth something in the real world.
That's amazing. Anyone else want to either respond, echo, or bring something else to our community? But I love that. I would love to see a lawn on D in Boston. In Dorchester, in Dorchester.
So we have a study coming out for outdoor event space. So when that study comes out, we need everyone's voice who wants to see it to advocate for it. One, that it happens, and then two, where it happens, and then what the design looks like. So we need your voices to be part of that conversation because we're going to have a study come out to create the space.
Who would like to go next? Go ahead, Kayla, I cut you off.
We were thinking the same things. I like hearing Councilor Worrell's idea. I would love to hear some community ideas too. I saw some people writing in the chat.
Go ahead, Brenda.
Okay, I'd like to see housing for everybody, and I'd like to see accessible housing for everybody that needs it. I'd like to see free healthcare, free drug programs, and free childcare.
I agree, Brenda. It's been nice to see some of the expansion of the universal pre-K program. My son benefited from that. He started school in BPS when he was 3. So definitely agree with that. There needs to be more early childhood programs that are affordable and have staff that reflect the community.
Yeah, sir, I'm going to put you on the spot. You put some stuff in the chat. Would you like to say them out loud?
Yeah, for sure. So I said that in my ideal community, I would have universal meals for students so that no one gets left hungry while they're in school. Resident elected police officers, because I know there's a lot of police officers that patrol our neighborhoods, but they're not even from around where they're patrolling. So it'd be really cool if they had like a quota for, a certain amount of residents need to sign off on that specific officer patrolling our neighborhood. Planning agency with equitable standards, tenant rights, and, just a planning agency that works for the people. And then I just put green space of all types so that people can play, as Brian said, outdoor event space, things of that nature.
Is that you, Councilor Worrell, Meg, or is that someone else?
Hi, yeah. So hi, my name is Meg. I am with Councilor Worrell's team. One thought that I wanted to contribute to the conversation is I think it would be really cool to see city efforts on climate resiliency and affordable housing woven together. So specifically, I think as we're thinking about how do we create affordable housing opportunities, it would be really awesome to see how do we then maybe utilize roofs or lawn space in those developments to be water runoff, or how do we implement things like solar panels and renewable energy into those things to set a precedent for climate resiliency, as we know that communities Dorchester, Mattapan, District 4 are going to be most heavily impacted by the effects of climate change in our city. And so I think really taking these issues out of silos and seeing how do we bring all of those different facets to well-being together in whatever future projects we're doing.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. I've also been seeing this now that we're moving into this sort of the space of really using those lots that have gone for decades, untouched, really turning them into spaces that, function as maybe community gardens, or can also function as space for people to get together. I think there's one, I don't know exactly where it's, right outside of Esmond Street, that opened up, if anyone knows where that is, on Blue Hill Ave. And I drive by and I was like, this is so beautiful. Go ahead, Troylene, if I'm pronouncing your name right. Please correct me, guys, if I butcher your names.
Yes, you pronounced my name right. All these are great ideas. And I would like to add one thing to it. If we can have classes on etiquette, teaching young people etiquette, we got to get back to the basic of showing the young people how to have respect, how to take care of their community, how to respect their self most, and first of all, respect their parents. They have gotten away from this. So I just think we need to get back, along with everything else what was just said, get back to the basic of teaching our children how to respect your community. And that's it.
I love that. Going back to the roots, community values. I know I learned most of that from church. That was my sense of community. It takes a village. Anyone else? I like this idea of trainings. I feel like there needs to be, I like that you brought up Councilor Worrell, home buyer opportunities and trainings, because I think that, Kayla just bought a house, yay. But one day, I'd like to be there and buy a house. And I know a lot of people in the community want to be homeowners too. So it'd be great to have more of those opportunities. It's expensive.
It is definitely expensive to stay in Boston. The market is looking really scary right now, but I really will recommend anybody who's interested in learning more about first-time home ownership opportunities to look into some of the affordable programs like the MAHA program, like to take some classes, and then really to look into the city of Boston's Mass 1+ mortgage and any other mortgages. I tell anybody who will listen that I never thought as a young single mom that I would be able to afford a house in Boston. I was like, I'm gonna have to leave. So I definitely think keep looking into it. And I hope that the program continues to expand. I'm seeing new houses and new apartments go up all around with some affordable options placed in them. But yeah, there's hope for Boston. There's hope to raise your kids here, keep your life here.
I don't want to miss your message in the chat, Diana. You said we need to be able to teach people, adults, especially elders and all, if they desire, they're given rights, and have adults have more openings to education and free. Do you want to elaborate on that?
I guess I can. Basically, it's just we have individuals who lack education, whether it's high school, whether it's grade school, they ended. And then even with our youth, I'm grateful, that my children were able to experience college, but a lot of them now do not desire. And if they do desire, then it's a very, it's really a challenge for them, financially. And, congratulations, Miss Kyla, I believe that's your name, on your house, your new home. And then, even with that, we have individuals who are purchasing homes and things of that nature, but there's a lot of individuals who don't have the knowledge of how to maintain. How am I going to be able to maintain if I was to lose, God forbid, my job? Do I know what insurance and things of that nature will cover? And do I have a backup plan? Mainly. So that's why I said that.
Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
We'll do a couple more before we move into our main conversation. I'll go back to the questions. We'd never no one answered yet. What laws or practices would you implement? So if anyone wants to take that one on.
A hard one. I don't know a lot about laws. Oh, go ahead, Councilor Worrell.
I feel like I might be giving my presentation, but one thing that I would like to see implemented here in the city of Boston is we have a budget, and all this, it's our tax dollars where we spend money on programs, or even our school system, police department. What I would like to see is a tool, right? That every money that's spent, we're looking at it in a data-informed way on how it will impact the lives of Black and Brown communities. So that's a law. Even when laws come forward, I think we should be looking at it through an equity lens to understand what effects this law will have on Black and Brown community. Would it help advance Black and Brown communities? Would it have a negative effect? And that's from not only the laws, but how the dollars are spent. We need to back things from a data standpoint to understand how these billions of dollars, our taxpayer dollars, are being used to help advance our communities.
I love that. It reminds me of, the work that FCC is doing right now around participatory budgeting. Yeah, and I also would love to see more of that. Like, we should all have a say in where the money goes. I'd love to look at the impact for sure. I don't know if anyone, do you know, Councilor Worrell, if anyone's like working on that yet in the city? Okay.
We, and Meg in my office, she knows a little bit. Well, she has helped us on this. And we are going to be hopefully introducing soon. We want to make sure that we get it right. We're calling it the React So it's the Racial Equity Act, the REACT, and or Racial Equity Action Tool, but it's called the REACT. And we are hopefully going to be introducing it sometime this year, but we want to make sure that, you know, we get it right. And we are exploring having community voice around the use of that tool to help us define, you know, what impacts we should be looking for, or kind of defining, you know, or coming up with the questions that every department here in the city of Boston that uses our tax dollars to, you know, fund programs or initiatives, or, you know, to fix our sidewalks, how they should go about making sure that it's equity based.
Thank you so much for sharing about React. I can't wait to hear more, but this is a great time to segue into Councilor Worrell's introductions and also Meg's introductions. So I'll pass it over to you guys to introduce yourselves before we go into our main conversation.
Yes, my name is Brian Worrell, and I'm the District 4 Boston City Councilor. I'm a lifelong Dorchester resident, born and raised here, grew up on Fuller Street. Then when I was 13 years old, I moved to Ewan Street, right near Stashes. And I've been there for 26 years. And it's a neighborhood that I feel so connected to. My grandparents, they actually migrated from Jamaica and Barbados right to Dorchester. So my family's been here, you know, since the 60s. And I don't know if this is too long of an introduction, but keep on going. All right. Been here since the 60s, and you know, they were hardworking individuals. I remember back in the day, it was a joke that, you know, Caribbean and West Indies worked 4 or 5 jobs, you know, and it was the truth. You know, I see my mom, you know, come home and, you know, take a nap and go back to another full-time job. There were times that she was working 3 or 4 jobs at a time, and my dad the same. And you know, that is just instilled into me, you know, hard work and dedication and consistency pays off. And the other beautiful thing that I got to see growing up, because my grandparents, they bought a home on Fuller Street, and everyone lived in the home. You know, it was, you know, my uncle, my two uncles, my cousin, my grandparents. It was, you know, my family, which is 5 of us. We all lived in that home, and it just showed that it takes a village, right? It takes a village to really raise a child, to support an individual and to advance a community. And, you know, that's one of my goals, is to create that village at City Hall. Like, we got to get back to, you know, what Kayla was saying is, you know, back to having that, bringing our churches in to help us do this work. You know, our faith-based organizations to help us do this work on, you know, I think it was, I believe it was, I think she's gone now. Trelawney was saying that, you know, etiquette or teaching them history. Like, you know, when I was growing up, it was, I felt like we had an expanded day of school, right? Because we would go from school, go from work to church to sometime after school program. So I think we got to get back to having more community involvement in the lives of our young people, because my grandma always told us that an idle mind is a devil's playground. So keeping our children and our young people productive and engaged is very important. I went to a program called MECO, and I was in MECO from an early age. And, you know, it's unfortunate that my parents didn't feel confident enough, you know, to put me into the Boston public school system. And, you know, 39 years later, you know, MECO has added, you know, districts. So, you know, the demand for MECO is even larger than when I went to it. So that just, you know, for me, just speaks to an opportunity here for us to, you know, make sure that we're strengthening and restoring confidence in our Boston public school system. And that's why I want to make sure that that type of education, that level of education that helped me get to, you know, Northeastern University, is something that we're making available and preparing all of our students here. And District 4 and the whole city of Boston, to make sure that they have the opportunity to, become a city councilor, to become a plumber or a doctor, or whatever we can expose them to. I want to make sure that that's real. Now I'm the city council for District 4, and it's a grateful, humbling opportunity that I'm honored to have to be able to advocate for my community, and also to make an impact. So I'm grateful for all the work that you guys do, and I'm so happy that I bumped into you, Kayla, at Townsfield, and I'm invited into this space to not only share what I'm doing, but most importantly hear from you, because I truly believe that because we have lived the issues, that we have all the answers. The answers are here. It's just formulating them, learning how to put them into hearing orders and ordinances to create the change that we want to see, right? I think a lot of times, a lot of organizations or people have advocated for us, but it's not, the outcomes that we have defined. And I want to make sure that we are defining the outcomes and then reverse engineering into how do we get there. Because we said affordable housing, for years now, yet, it's not the affordable housing that, we're looking to have. We got to make sure that we are defining in detail what we want as a community. And I want to work with, my community, our community on that. So thank you for having me, and I'll pass it over to Meg.
Yeah, hi everyone. It's really great to be here. Like I said earlier, I'm with Councilor Worrell this summer, focusing on youth engagement work, but also just having the opportunity to be a part of the team overall that just tries to respond to community and be a resource however we can. A little bit of personal background about myself. Lifelong resident of District 4, have lived on Elmhurst Street right off in Norfolk my entire life. So right like 2 minutes away from Tech Boston. And I'm really just grateful for the opportunity to be working with this team on how we can make our office a resource and a source of empowerment for all members of District 4. And so I thought it was, I don't remember who brought it up, but I know you guys are doing work on participatory budgeting, and that's something especially close to my heart, because when I was in high school, I was a part of the Mayor's Youth Council, which has done a lot of participatory budgeting work in the city. And so that's, a form of community engagement and redistributing resources to community that I'm really passionate about. And I saw in the chat talking about work that I'm doing with young people this summer. We're really trying to, go all cylinders. So this upcoming Saturday, we have our office's youth outreach event called Heatwave happening at the outdoor basketball courts next to the Perkins from 3 to 6. So if anyone knows young people or just wants to come out and have a chance to talk with our team, that's one thing. But the main core of my work and why I got brought onto this team is to, work with Councilor Worrell on establishing a District 4 Youth Council. Because it's to my understanding that specifically on the district level, we haven't seen a youth council happen with the city councilor's office. And so my goal this summer overall is to really build the groundwork and set up the foundation for us to have a youth council where young people in our community can be engaging with the counselor, not just in a format of young people saying something that they want and there's no follow-up, but really positioning young people in our community to be stakeholders in decision making, and really trying to rethink how we engage young people in a way where it goes beyond performance and really goes into creating a substantive role for them within our decision making. So I'm really grateful to be here. And I saw in the chat about sending out a flyer, and so I can follow up with emailing someone and I can get that sent out. So we'll make sure to do that.
If you give me 1 second, I'm just looking to put it in the chat. I have the flyer on my computer, Meg. I'll put it in 1 second, sorry. having trouble finding it. Does anybody, to get us started, does anybody have questions? Oh, go ahead, Councilor Worrell.
And I would say also, Meg has created a District 4 Youth Council Instagram page. So please follow us on Instagram, share it. We're gonna be posting, all of the great work that, Meg is organizing young people around. So yes, please share it and follow it as well.
We have some of the questions that you all submitted during registration, but while I'm pulling those up, does anybody have any questions for Councilor Worrell or about civic engagement in Dorchester?
So I will say this about engagement, and I guess I'll take the question first.
No, maybe you'll answer my question in the interim of you speaking. It's fine.
All right. So what we want to do as an office is, make sure that we are empowering. I wouldn't say empowering, but having our community realize their power. So we want to, give the opportunity, for community, residents to work as policy collaborators, with our office. So if there's an idea, an initiative, a program that, where you see us working on and you want to, lend your voice and your time and see how you can help advance it, please let us know. But this is also an idea that you have. We want to hear it. And we want to work with you and also to one, make it a law if possible, or actually hold a hearing on it. So we want to put that out there as well, because the power lies into the people, and ordinary people have proven and shown us throughout the course of history that we can do extraordinary things. So we want to stay in that space and have our community give that opportunity in our office to our community.
So you did answer, because I guess that was somewhat I was going to ask. But I guess another question to add on, the original question I was going to ask is, what exactly would you be doing regarding the civic engagement aspect? And you gave, I guess, information on what you will be doing and, how I guess we can get involved in things of that nature. But another question would be, what specific points are you driven to or dealing with at this point for the civic engagement portion?
Yeah, so for the civic engagement portion right now, we're doing, a lot of outreach. So we're doing neighborhood walks. We'll also have been, holding, meetings around collaboration amongst different civic associations. Because we want, we believe that civic engagement is, collaborating together, and then also helping, other communities that might not have, the human capital, or, there's different skill sets in each different civic association. Like there might be a lawyer over here or a real estate developer over here, but once we couple them, our voice is that much stronger. And then we have seen, that the strength in numbers. A lot of these nonprofits or organizations that are moving things here in the city of Boston, they do so because, they have so many, members or, the same agenda. So we're working around that. And then the other thing that we're doing, and Meg is leading on this, is we want to get more voices to the table, right? I feel that, there's 75,000 people, maybe a little less, inside the district. And I believe there's a 20%, maybe even less, maybe like 15% or 13% of them vote, right? And then even less of them, attend civic association meetings or attend hearings. So we want to, be proactive in encouraging that, and lending, using our platform on, when or how, or just being more engaging on, why we need to do, why we need to lend our voices to these cases, and to these policies and to these hearings. So that work is ongoing, and we're trying to do it in a, not formal way, because I feel that we need to meet people where they're at. So we're trying to just, hit the streets, and make phone calls, and do more social media interaction.
So I
Thank you.
guess one question I have for both the community members and for you, Councilor Worrell, is what do you envision for the future of D4? Like, what are people hoping to see, and what things are already moving?
So when I came on the council, my maiden speech, which is your first, the first time you speak on council floor, is called your maiden speech. And my maiden speech was around the Black and Brown economic empowerment agenda. So my vision for District 4, which I describe as, and this is a fact though too, it is the, the blackest, the brownest district in the city of Boston. But I also see it as, the brightest, the most talented, the most neighborly, the most diverse, and rich in culture. So I want to hold on to that, right? I want to hold on to all of that and make, this district the most Black and brown prominent neighborhood in all the city of Boston. Where we're talking about how high the levels of home ownership is amongst Black and brown people inside of District 4, where we're talking about all the thriving Black and brown businesses here in the district, where we're talking about, the top schools where we have, Black and brown scholars that are going to, these great colleges, or Black and brown schools where we're, producing entrepreneurs and, electricians that are doing great things in our community. So that's my vision. I want to have all that in District 4. And we have the opportunity to do so because, one, we have the people, you guys are here and are invested in it. And then two, we have the opportunity to do so because, we have the schools, and we have the space, and we have, the commercial area. So that's my vision for District 4.
Thank you for sharing. Does anybody else have ideas for what they're hoping to see happen in District 4 over the next coming years? Oh, Councilor Worrell, maybe, sorry, I realized we should have done this earlier. What, where exactly is District 4?
So District 4 is, I'm gonna try to take you on a visual map, and I don't know if I'm doing well. So let me know if this makes sense to you. I never asked anyone that before. I just sometimes just say it and never asked if they, really got it in their mind, saw the visual of it. So it's from Grove Hall, a little before the gas station on Blue Hill Ave. I forgot what street that is, but all the way up to Morton Street. And then you go down Morton Street, and then it's some of West Selden. It does this little peninsula that it takes some of West Selden, but it doesn't take like behind Dunkin' Donuts. But then it comes back down. I forgot the street that's parallel to West Selden. And then it goes all the way down to River Street. And then it stops before Ryan's Playground. But then it comes all the way back down to Dorchester Ave. But it's not Lower Mills. It's nowhere near Lower Mills. It's more of like Kearney Hospital and Walsh Park. And then it goes all the way down Dorchester Ave to Phil's Corner Station. So right where like Barnley Stone is, like a little past that. And then it comes up like Park Street. So that's what, no, I messed that up. But that's kind of like the general idea.
Thank you. It's a big area.
Yeah, no, it's, I walked it, probably like 2 or 3 times. And if you ever want to work out, walk and knock on District 4 doors. It is a workout.
Our youth just started door knocking. I know they were really tired yesterday and they didn't really even make it that far, but it's the summer days, go walking door knocking and get your steps in real quick.
Absolutely. And I was telling people, I was like, I don't know if anyone else has as many stairs as District 4, because some of those hills at Matt and Pam, it is like it's majority 3 families. So it is a definitely workout. How do you describe civic engagement? For me, civic engagement is all about the personal connection, the outreach. It's phone calls, it's door knocking, it's walking the neighborhood, it's getting the word out there that, this thing is happening, whether it's a hearing, whether it's a survey. It's making sure that the community voice is being heard in that process. And we need to do a better job at that. And we're hiring, more people just to kind of focus on that aspect. And that's why, we brought, Meg on to focus on, the youth side of it. We're going to be bringing on, someone from the A Strong community. And we're going to be bringing on another neighborhood liaison. And then we also have a director of civic engagement who leads on that as well. So civic engagement, for me, it's the foundation on how we identify the policy and then identify who the policy is affected. And that's how we need to, continue to push policy and then circle back after that policy has been implemented to make sure that it's impacting those that we created it for.
Do you have to live in D4 to work for the city?
You do not have to live you have to live in the city of Boston to work for city council. However, if you don't live in the city of Boston and still want to be a policy collaborator, my door is open. But yes, you have to live inside of the city of Boston to work for the council.
In the chat, somebody put, where is your office located?
So my office is located inside of City Hall, but I live inside of the district, and there's office space here that I can always get access to. So I'm happy to meet anyone inside of the district. I always want to make sure I'm accessible, and there's no need for us, if we all live in Dorchester, to have to travel down to City Hall to have a conversation.
Would you be able to tell a little bit about how you plan to do work with nonprofit youth programs to consolidate their D4 talent, like with the Food Project, Artists for Humanity? Yazir put this in the chat. I'm not sure what TEEP is. Sorry, Yazir. Clubhouse Network and Teens in Print.
Yeah, so absolutely. I want to, one of my visions is to create a youth council. So I would love to get as many youth boys as possible, to be involved in, not only, when it's implemented, but the creation of it. So we want to get more youth voices involved. We also want to have a youth member part of our council, part of our staff, part of our team. So any which way, and I would love to hear more. Like I would definitely love to hear more about the programs, so I can see how we can work together on implementing or working in collaboration on some of your initiatives as well. So absolutely, I think youth voice is a missing voice, not only in the city of Boston, but in our civic associations. And these, developments are going up, businesses are being implemented, laws are being implemented. And I'm 40, I'm gonna be 40 next year. And our youth is gonna have more time with the laws that we implement. So we wanna make sure that we're getting it right. So I wanna hear from the youth as much as possible.
Meg, are you raising your hand?
Yeah, just to quickly highlight. First, I just wanted to say, because I saw your chat about FCCC having a youth program, and I actually want to flag that I was able to meet with them this past Tuesday and do a workshop with them. And so I want to, thank you for the incredible work that you're doing with your young people. And I think the question too, because I know a lot of the organizations that were listed are really great organizations that are employing a lot of youth in our district, but that are located outside of our district. So I think it also highlights a specific point, because a lot of the work that I've been doing this summer is on really strengthening our relationships with organizations within District 4. But I think it's also really important to look at how we also connect with youth organizations whose locations maybe fall outside the bounds of D4, but that are still heavily involved in our community. And so I think that's a really important point to raise as well. So yeah, just wanted to highlight that.
Thanks, Meg. In the chat, we also have, what initiatives are you working on or vision do you have about bringing health resources to D4 or promoting health and wellness in D4?
So I've had this conversation a couple times, and with the our commissioner of the Health Commission. I want to make sure that we are holding our hospitals accountable and taking a look at any health disparities that might come with maternity or any disparities when it just comes with healthcare. I also took a look and realized that there's no urgent care in our neighborhood, right? There's no urgent care in our neighborhood, right? It's all of them are outside of our neighborhood. So I've been having discussions, and I think I have found a partner in a location, crossing my fingers, to have the urgent care, somewhere in District 4, hopefully in the near future. So I want to make sure that we have the resources and that we have the care, and then also that we are, making sure that we're looking at the data to make sure that our community and Black and brown people here in the city of Boston are getting the health care that they deserve, and that if they're not, that we have to hold those health institutions accountable.
Amina, since you were the one who asked that question, would you like to talk a little bit about the community health hubs that are going to be starting at Town Field in 2 weeks? Sorry to put you on the spot. It's okay if you don't want to.
I'm also muted. I was talking the whole time. So yeah, thank you so much, Councilor Worrell, for bringing up the fact that there are no urgent care facilities here. Yeah, I had to go outside of the city outside of Dorchester when I had an issue. It was not pleasant at all. But yeah, I brought that up. I asked that question because we're working on a model of basically bringing together health related resources with community run spaces. And so, they'd be situated in spaces that people know and feel comfortable in. And so that would look like bringing together any type of health related resource that people have identified that they want. So right now we're starting in 2 weeks, super excited, in Towns Field, and it's going to be COVID-19 vaccinations. We're going to have PPE kits distributions. We're working on getting residents from Boston Medical Center to come and give general health related advice, but also do vital checks or maybe check blood pressures or blood sugar or do any type of other screening. We're still looking for any health related resource that folks want in D4 and want in that area. So if you're looking for mammography, but you don't want to go all the way down, or you don't have a PCP, or you don't want to go all the way down to a hospital or to a health center, then maybe this could be a space that we could do that. So I was wondering if this would be something that your office would be interested in, or any comments that you have towards that sort of model about, you know, having care in a way that's comfortable and also accessible.
No, I love that idea. And unfortunately, I had two uncles that, you know, passed away due to cancer. And I see it too often in our Black males that, you know, we want to thug it out. You know, we want to not go to the doctor when we're feeling sick, or we don't believe in and it comes from a real place, right? You know, there has been, you know, some trauma related to, based on past experiences, you know, what, you know, medical science has done to Black and brown communities. So it, you know, it comes from a real place. But, you know, that has, you know, given us a reason not to go to the doctors, to have colonoscopies, or, you know, just to, you know, check out our you know, have a physical, right? Or, you know, do STD testing. So these are things that, you know, we have to promote and encourage in our Black men and in our community in general. So anything I could do to promote in that, let me know, because even with COVID, I think we you know, Mattapan is still the lowest in terms of, you know, vaccination rate, and you know, these are real things that, you know, affect our communities, and we want to make sure that we're encouraging people to, you know, live a healthy lifestyle. But I also want to, you know, let you know that the Boston Public Health Commission just received ARPA dollars for this type of work. So I would say, you know, reach out to them. You can also reach out to my office. You know, send me an email, let me know about your initiative and what you're doing, and I can see if I can connect you to, you know, anybody over at the Health Commission to see if there's any resources that they could bring, you know, to you.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, we've had, I think this first one is a soft rollout at Townsville, and we're hoping that, you know, we've talked to some community members who have expressed this need of having, you know, we come in to vaccination sites and you're thinking, oh, just get vaccinated, but, you know, there are more needs beyond vaccinations. Like from this as just activity that we just did, we identified housing, we identified, you know, need for more food. Like there's so much more needs that's related to health that, but definitely we'll love to connect.
Yeah, absolutely. And during the pandemic, I assembled a team to start hosting pop-up clinics with Whittier Medical. And, you know, one thing that we saw was, you know, the people that were coming into, you know, we did it right on Bowden Street, because if you remember, it was only on, you know, Reggie Lewis Center and Morning, was it Morning? Not,
Yeah, it was Morning Star.
It was Morning Star, right? And, you know, I always, you know, I believe that, you know, resources should be in abundance and accessible. You know, so people should be able to walk to something that could save their lives, right? So we were doing it right on Bowden Street, and, you know, to your point, you know, people were showing up and they were asking about food. You know, they were asking about housing, and, you know, this, you know, the COVID clinic started, it grew into a food pantry now. And now we're delivering food. And then it, you know, grew into, you know, we need masks, right? So it started growing into this, you know, like we just took over this office that wasn't being used. And I gotta give a big shout out to Cape Verdean Association of Boston. And like their whole office was just filled to the brim with just, you know, resources and supplies, and people just willing to help and lend a hand. So no, you're absolutely right. I think that is one of those, you know, like when you start becoming a trusted partner, you know, you can, have vaccination clinics, and then they start trusting you to ask for more things. And we need more of those boots on the ground that understand our community, who could be that trusted person to make sure that we're getting the resources out to those who need it.
Very true. Thank you so much.
What do you think are some of the strengths of D4 and like what defines D4?
Yeah, I think the strength is it's diversity. I think that is like you see it, and you can also taste it, right? Like, I don't know if there's any other neighborhood or any other district you can get ramen noodles and a beef patty, a Haitian patty, and a Dominican patty. I think that is something that's real to District 4. I think the other part that I love about District 4 is it's part of one. It might be one of the more, or parts of it, is one of the most commuter-friendly neighborhoods, right? Like we have, like think about Blue Hill Ave and Columbia Road and Washington Street, and how many buses, right, you could take, just on those 3 roads. And unfortunately, like other parts of District 4, does not have that transportation, but just, like the core of it, we have, it's pretty commuter friendly. And I think we have Ashmont Station, Shaman Station, even though Forest Hills is not too far, that's right down the street. The other thing that I love about District 4 is that I feel like it's so much talent here and so many people that are invested in the talent here, that it creates opportunity to kind of showcase, a gem, right, that hasn't been, invested in from the city of Boston as it should have. So I see real opportunity here, and people who care and are invested in, the advancement of Black and brown people. And that just kind of equates to, the love that we just see when we, like this meeting, right? The fact that we're having this meeting to bring voices in and to share information is because we love, our district and our community and our people. So I think that's speaks kind of like to the neighbor. I don't know if this is the word, but neighborly, effect that, District 4 has. And I love that about the neighborhood. And I'm not going anywhere. Like my parents live down the street. My brother lives around the corner. My aunt, cousins, uncles, like we all, like majority of us live in District 4, and we love it. And sorry, I'm not good with the chat. So if you guys,
I'm asking them out loud if I see anything in there.
yeah.
Library Park for baseball, basketball, different cultural supermarkets. I definitely agree. There's a lot happening in D4. At the beginning of the Zoom, I hope the person is still on. I think it was Sophia, but maybe it wasn't. So sorry if I put you on the spot. But one of the questions that was asked was just learning more about how you got into city council work.
Yeah, so for me, it was one, realizing that, opportunity, like a real opportunity, is not made available for everyone. We have, these, programs that you could get into to get resources. But the problem with programs is that it's for a limited amount of people. And that shouldn't be the case when we're talking about, advancement of people, right? It should be like everyone has a shot, like a real shot at resources and things that can help advance them. And I always use small business as a tool. I had a small business where we gave down payment assistance to first-time home buyers. I would, pay for, individuals who are interested in, becoming, real estate professional. I would pay for their classes, pay for their tests. I would tutor them. And then once they, receive their license, I would coach them on how to be successful. So for me, City Hall is another tool on, when bringing information to people to one, share with them, to show them how to take hold of the power that they have to help advance our community. So for me, the timing after George Floyd, when we talked about equity and changing the structure and the outcomes, like I live in that space. Like I'm an accountant, I went to school for accounting, and creating the infrastructure is what like I love to do, but it's first starting at the outcome and then reverse engineering it back. But it's also based on what I've heard and what I've lived, and I want to help our community realize, the potential that we do have. And yes, I am related to my brother, Christopher Worrell. He is running for the 5th Suffolk State Rep. And he also was a civic association. No, he was a director of constituent services in the State House for one of the state senators. And then my other cousin, that's my brother, and then my cousin, Sergeant Ace Worrell, he works for the Boston Police Department. Then I have family that used to work for the fire department. And then I have some family members that work in our Boston Public School System and into some of our healthcare. I think Common Square Health Center, and also Dana-Farber.
Your family sounds very busy.
Yeah. We love doing the work because we understand that being first generation and immigrants, that people had to pour into us in order for us to advance. So we want to give that back, and that's how we uplift community, right? Like I'm a firm believer that if everyone around me is doing well, then I'm gonna be all right. Like I don't have to have selfish ambition to say, oh, you can't have this because I need it. It's let's all get there, and once we're all doing well, the community just naturally will be thriving and flourishing, which means all of us.
Thank you. Diana, I see you have your hand raised. Do you want to go next?
Yeah, so another question for you. With you going from door to door, are you, and would you be honest to say that you're seeing a lot of fear, or what are you seeing?
Yeah, so when we during the campaign, when I was going door to door, we were hearing, policing, people still want to see, the police department. It's crime actually, some of the, departments like B3 will report that crime is down. However, a crime like shots fired won't be reported as a crime, right? Because no one was charged or no one was caught, right? So I haven't seen that data yet, but people, they still want to see, the police department visible in their community. A lot of people also want the opportunity to own. So there is a fear on, getting priced out or getting moved out. And there is, I think there's a lot of hope though. I think there's, people are very hopeful, just want to name that this, like we're living in, like, this is history right now in terms of Boston politics. Like, it's our second woman mayor. We've had a Black mayor. We have a woman of color who's mayor. And this is the most diverse city council in the history of Boston. So there is, I believe, real hope that things can change and will change. And I think we're seeing that in terms of the investments on ARPA, which is our COVID relief money, and in our operating budget. So I think the fair is more so history. So I want to call that trauma. But there's a lot of hope when I'm on the doors that, because of the city council and how diverse it is, and because of our, we have a mayor that's a person of color, that, and then City Hall, if you look at the chiefs, like I just want you to go to City Hall's website and start looking at who's in control of those cabinets, right? Like look up who your chiefs and your commissioners are in City Hall, and you're gonna start seeing, some young Black and brown people that are from the community. So I think a lot of people are very hopeful in this time. I think the fair is more so based on what had happened, but we still have a lot to work on, and I don't want to downplay that as well. Like, we do have a lot to work on, and violence prevention and intervention is something that we need to make sure that we are continuously investing in, because poverty and the policies that have hurt us are real, and it's not going to take a day to get out of it. It's going to take incremental reform, and we got to make sure that we're there for increasing the quality of life, and that means safety in our neighborhoods.
Thank you for sharing. And how do you plan to involve community members into this process? Like, what are some ways that community members can get involved with you or with Civic Engagement in their area?
So one is the policy collaborator. So if you want to be a policy collaborator, we would love to have you on board. And then to join us on those neighborhood walks, right? Let us know what issues you want us to focus on, or point out the issues that are going on in your neighborhood. And then 3, there's hearings, there's surveys. We need you to show up, because that is how the city creates policy. They create policy based on those surveys they put out. They create policy based on the feedback that they get from community meetings. So if we're not showing up to that, then whoever is showing up, that's what the policy is going to be centered and based around. And then bring people with you. Bring someone with you to these meetings, and share that information on that survey so they can fill it out, because we need more engagement and more people participating.
We had another question in the chat. I don't know too much about this, so maybe Joseph, if you want to clarify, you are more than welcome to. But what is your opinion of the city hiring a former City of Boston police officer who was jacked up years ago by his peers while undercover?
Yeah, and I had the opportunity to sit down with Commissioner Cox, who is Boston born and raised, and he said that he's not a victim of his incident, and that ever since that incident, he has grown and understand what reform looks like. And when meeting with him, he talked about community policing. He talked about not only getting police officers out of their cars and walking the neighborhoods and getting to know the people in the neighborhoods, but he himself doing it. Him getting more involved in the community. He also talked about hiring more Black and brown officers in leadership roles, and even in the rank and file. He talked about, you know, the levels of punishments that, Black and brown officers face compared to their white counterparts, and how he would go about, rectifying that. And then he also talked about, making the small changes, being very practical on, incremental reform that needs to happen in order to get to the big changes. It's shaking up the culture there. So I'm excited about, Commissioner Cox. I think he gets it. He has a warm spirit, very welcoming spirit as well. And a lot of people on the police department are excited to have him.
Thanks for sharing, Councilor Worrell, and thank you, Joseph, for bringing light to that important situation. I didn't know anything about that, so thank you for asking that great question. I wanted to check in. We have about 4 minutes left, and before I transition to our last question, I just wanted to see if anybody had any more neighborhood questions or concerns to ask. So Councilor Worrell and Meg, would love to hear more about what's like new and exciting in D4, and also just if you all could share any information about how people can get registered for your newsletter that I think it's not Meg, somebody else sends out from your office.
Yeah, so if you want to get part of the newsletter and want to receive it on a weekly basis, send me an email, and I'll put my email in the chat. And let everyone know about the newsletter. We want everyone part of the newsletter, because information is the key, that unlocks, resources, opportunity. So we want to make sure that information is being shared as much as possible. What's new and exciting? One, we are working on getting the study for the new event space out to the district. So we need your voices there. Two, we have a few lots on Blue Hill Ave that are being sold. So we want to hear your voices there. That's new and exciting. So that's more affordable housing, potential commercial space, even that could be some of our open green space. So we want to hear, your ideas for that space. We have a district, not a district four, but a BCYF, a standalone BCYF that will be coming into the district. We have a lot of new renovations to our public, to our schools, which I believe should be taking place in the next 4 years. We have also received Ceylon Park, the soccer field over there by Quincy Street. That should be done in the next 2 years. I also heard that Harambe Park will be done in the next 2 to 3 years as well. Harambe Park right next to the Boys and Girls Club on Talbot Ave. We are also exploring renovating the Dorchester YMCA, which I'm excited for. And we are looking to bring more liquor licenses to our restaurants here in District 4, because I feel that I don't know, by the raise of hands, how many people have had, was able to go out to eat and, grab a glass of wine or, a beer inside of the district? No one? Yeah.
In Dorchester.
Right. Okay, one person. So we need to make sure that, we're driving, keeping dollars here in our community, because we see that, when we invest in local entrepreneurs and businesses, they have more of a likelihood to hire, people from their community and reinvest in their community. So we want to make sure that they're doing that. So we're advocating for, more, liquor licenses in the neighborhood. And then we're also just pushing for more capital expenditures here. And capital investments is, this goes back to your tax dollars. So your tax dollars, city collects it, and then they start, building, roads, renovating buildings, building parks. And the unfortunate thing is, right, in the last 5 years, is that District 4 has had the least amount of tax dollars going into public infrastructure spending, where other districts has had, over $1 billion of capital investments. District 4 is the only district that has had less than $200 million. So every other district has cleared $200 million. And District 4 is the only district that has not. And other districts has cleared $1 billion, and District 4 hasn't even cleared $200 million. So we are asking for corrective action in that, because we know that it's needed. That's how we get the green space. That's how we make sure that our schools are up to par, and that our parks are being renovated, and that our roads are being paved. So we need your help too on that as well. So we need you to identify areas that need the investment so that we can advocate for them on that capital plan. Oh, thanks, Yasser, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And it's not, I don't do anything without us, and I'm as good as, my constituents, I'm as good as my team, and I'm good as the advocacy. So I need your voices, and I need you to, just say what we know, right? I'm just reiterating what I heard on the doors, and I'm saying what I heard in the barbershop. I'm reiterating what I hear in these meetings. So this is us, this is us, and this is how we're gonna get it done. Oh, and last but not least, sorry, we have the heat wave. We are all into the youth council and engagement, and I'm excited for the heat wave and the youth council that Meg is leading on. So I'm excited on that. And then we have a lot of, even part of that newsletter is jobs. We want to let our community know about all the jobs, and not just city jobs. These are jobs that Children's Hospital is sharing with us. Development companies are sharing with us. Unions are sharing with us. So we want to share that information out there as much as possible too. So I'm excited. I'm excited to represent, and it's an honor to represent, my hometown and everyone in here. And I'm looking to continue this work with you guys.
Thank you so much, Councilor Worrell. Thank you so much for joining us and just letting us know everything that's happening in D4. It sounds absolutely amazing. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. I also, if there's any support that your office needs, we are very much excited to help. And thank you so much, Meg, also for joining us too. The work that you're doing with the youth is just amazing. And hopefully I can join the heat wave this weekend, you said. We'll also share out the flyers. If there's any other flyers that you'd like us to share, or any information that you want us to send out in our follow-up email, if you just email it to Kayla or myself, that would be fantastic. I know we're over time, but I want to create a space for us to hear from you guys, really maybe 1 or 2 minutes about what are other community conversations that you want us to help to host. And then also, we really want to do community leading. So if you guys are excited about leading a conversation and basically do what Kayla and I do when we meet, then please let us know. And then it could be, if there's a conversation that you really think we should have or bring speakers into this space, then you'll let us know. We'll take 1 or 2 minutes before we go. And obviously any last minute questions, concerns, or feedback during this.
So I just have one for Brian. So you're not untouchable, are you?
You mean untouchable, like Teflon? No. I mean, as long as the people want me here, I'm gonna be here. You know, as long as the people want me here. You thinking about running against me?
Nah, not to be honest, I'm almost related to you, but I'm gonna leave that right there for now. Enough, I guess enough of the family is running. I'm gonna leave it like that.
I would like to say, after seeing him in public, I feel like he's very relatable and approachable. We met at an event in April, and I was like, who's this? You know, he has very everyday guy energy. So yes, very approachable, I think.
Okay. Well, I said untouchable. I didn't say approachable. I know he's approachable, but I want to make sure I'll be able to touch him. Yeah, I know that's private joke.
I thought you meant more of the campaign world.
Well, that too. That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
So the only thing is, like I said, when you get that invitation from our group, you know, remember, just remember, okay, you said that you are not untouchable.
And it's all about the community. You know, I'm here to serve, and whenever they feel that my time is come and gone, you know, I'll move on. But it's all about the community. It's really nothing to do with, you know, anything for my ego or my self-ambition. I'm here just to help make an impact. And that's done with you guys, everyone in this room.
So we're glad to hear that. We just hope you continue just to continue to give to the people.
I wouldn't know anything else, to be honest.
That's good. Don't change. That's all I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna mute now.
Amazing. Okay, so I don't want to go too much over time. We're already 8 minutes. So I'll put any links in the follow-up email to everyone. And also, if you think of any community conversations, you can just email me. I put my email in the chat, but I'm also going to email all of you after this. So thank you so much for coming. And thank you again, Meg and Councilor Worrell. And we're going to wrap up for the night. So thank you all for coming. I'll play
Thank
music.
you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Miss Kayla. Thanks, Miss Amina, Miss Meg, and Mr. Worrell. Thank you so much for the information.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and God bless and take care.
All right, you guys have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
She didn't say it again.
Hi,
Oh, how cute.
Having a dance party.
That is from my dad.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for coming on tonight. You want to say bye, KJ?
What about my dad?
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Amina. Have a good night.
Bye.
Hide and say bye too.
Bye, guys.
Good night.